Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. This is Bookie Monsters. My name is PK and it is Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Ash Wednesday. And on Wednesdays, coincidentally, we look at romance books that are being set into the wild this week. So there are a lot of them. I don't know if that was coincidence or not, but we will jump into those new books that are available this week. Quick announcements: Wednesdays, no sprints. I don't do sprints on Wednesday nights. Um, and I don't know of any others. I apologize. I can't recommend any, but we can be reading in spirit. Our next sprints are tomorrow night, Thursday night at 6:05 Mountain Time, 8:05 Eastern. Those will go for 2.5 hours. And again on Saturday afternoon, starting at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and those will go for 5 hours. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at the new fantasy and science fiction that are being released this week. But today, romance. Let's see. Let's jump in here. And I'm going to start closing down some tabs as we go through them. First one here, The Spy and I by Tiana Smith. Right place, wrong person. After a case of mistaken identity, one woman must work with her sister's sexy spy partner to save the world in this heart-pounding romantic comedy. The first thing to know about Dove Barkley is that even though she works as a cybersecurity analyst, she is 100% not an undercover CIA operative. But when a group of bad guys mistake her for her super spy sister, news to her, Dove gets roped into a dangerous government mission that she'd very much rather be left out of, thank you. Too bad Mendez, the man who claims to be her sister's partner, says she's in too deep to back out now. He's smart, capable, and has a body almost distracting enough to make Dove forget about the team of trained assassins after her. Dove has information that can help prevent a national tragedy, but there's mounting evidence that Mendez might not be who he claims. More importantly, she's running out of time to save her sister, because the last thing Dove wants is for either of them to go out with a bang. Hi, Annalise. How are you doing? How are things over there? Let's get rid of that. Okay. Again, I'm going to be shutting down tabs that we don't need as we go through them. While the City Sleeps by Elizabeth Camden. That's a pretty cover. Amid the Hush City, this is part of the Women of Midtown series, but so far there's only one book. Okay. Amid the hushed city, two hearts must navigate danger and deception, bound by a love that outshines the stars. Katherine Schneider's life as a dentist in 1913 New York is upended when a patient reveals details of a deadly plot while under the influence of laughing gas. As she is plunged into danger, she seeks help from the dashing Lieutenant Jonathan Birch, a police officer she has long admired from afar. Jonathan has harbored powerful feelings toward Catherine for years, but never acted on them, knowing his dark history is something she could never abide. Did you ask her? No. Now, with her safety on the line, he works alongside her through the nights as they unravel the criminal conspiracy that threatens her, even as he keeps his deepest secrets hidden at all costs. Not bad. But once again, the core issue is communication. I'm okay, a little out of whack. How are you and Keo? We are doing okay. Have not gotten response back from Keo's lab testing for lupus. It has snowed here overnight, but it's only going to stay for a couple days. But driving this morning will be bleh. The Catch by Amy Leah, book 3 of The Influencer. trilogy. A grumpy lobster fisherman tosses a fashion influencer's impeccably curated life overboard in the next romantic comedy from blah blah blah. In a last-ditch effort to rescue her brand from the brink of irrelevance, Boston fashion influencer Melanie Carlson finds herself in a rural fishing village on the east coast of Canada because fashion to me screams the rural fishing village on the east coast of Canada. The only thing scarier than nature itself, the burly and bearded bed and breakfast owner and fisherman Evan Whaler, who single handedly disproves the theory that Canadians are nice. After a boating accident lands Evan unconscious in the hospital, Mel is mistaken for his fiancee by his welcoming yet quirky family. How many movies are we combining here? Who are embroiled in a long-standing feud over the B&B. In a bold attempt to mend family fences, Mel agrees to fake their engagement for 1 week in exchange for Evan's help with her social media content. Amid long hikes and campfire chats, reeling in their budding feelings for each other proves more difficult by the day. But is Mel willing to sacrifice her picture-perfect life in the city for a chance at a true, unfiltered love in the wild? Not Your Crush's Cauldron, Supernatural Singles Book Number 3 by April Asher. A buttoned up witch takes a stroll on the wildish side, that sparking an alert that lands her a familiar guardian angel. Copy in the ready. Olive Maxwell much prefers teaching about the supernatural world to taking part in it and leaves the magical shenanigans to her two sisters. After assigning her college students a project designed to nudge them outside their comfort zones, Olive realizes she's never once stepped a toe out of her own, and it's about time that changed. Her first trip into the unknown, moving in with her longtime crush and friend, tattooed, motorcycle riding, and pleasantly pierced Baxter Donovan. Bax Donovan, guardian angel not so extraordinaire, has acquired so many black marks on his record it looks like a Scantron test. He's been given one last chance to keep his guardian wings, a high profile assignment he knows all too well. Olive is usually as low risk as it gets. Well, she wrote the safety manual, but something landed her on the guardian angel affairs radar, and he guesses it has something to do with the heart pounding stunts she's determined to check off her dare I docket list. Keeping Olive out of trouble is about to be his toughest assignment. He's at real risk of shattering the only guardian angel code of conduct rule he's yet to break. Don't fall in love with your assignment. And he isn't so sure that's a bad thing. If love doesn't play by the rules, why should they? Now this one has a very pretty cover. I've been reading a lot, non-educational, love it. I relax and thank you for inspiring me to enjoy reading for fun too. Awesome! My work is done. I am an ambassador for enjoyable book reading. Stories are good. Makes me happy. Warms my heart. Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. Like I say, that's a very pretty cover. Love shows up when you least expect it, much like the Spanish Inquisition. A surprise pregnancy. That's not my favorite. To even more life-changing revelations in this heartfelt, slow burn, friends to lovers romance of found family and unexpected love. How many tropes can we throw in there? All of them. Eve Hatch lives for surprises. Just kidding. She expects every tomorrow to be pretty much the same as today. She loves her cozy apartment in Brooklyn that's close to her childhood best friend Willa and far from her Midwestern traditional family who has never really understood her. While her job is only dream adjacent, it's comfortable and steady. She always knows what to expect from her life until she finds herself expecting after an uncharacteristic one-night stand. The unplanned pregnancy cracks open all the relationships in her life. Eve's loyal friendship with Willa is feeling tense right when she needs her the most, and it's actually Willa's steadfast older brother, Shep, who steps up to help Eve. He has always been friendly, but now he's checking in, ordering her surprise lunches, listening to all her complaints, and is suddenly kind of hot. Then, as if she needs one more complication, there's the baby's father, who is technically supportive but majorly conflicted. Up until this point, Eve's been content to coast through life. Now, though, maybe it's the hormones, maybe it's the way Shep's shoulders look in a t shirt, Eve starts to wonder if she has been secretly desiring more from every aspect of her life. Over the course of 9 months, as Eve struggles to figure out the next step in her expanding reality, she begins to realize that family and love in all forms can sneak up on you when you least expect it. Still a pretty cover. Speaking of pretty covers, Fish Out of Water by Katie Ruggles. Fish out of water, and there's only one sleeping bag. Okay. Why date a mountain man? Because he knows how to pitch a tent. When Dahlia Weathersby's sister disappears on what should have been a simple day hike, Dahlia immediately heads deep into the Colorado Rockies to find her. Knowing she'll never survive the mountains alone, she convinces the local hermit, adorably grouchy survival expert Winston Dane, and he's not like 70 years old. He's hot, I'm sure, to be her guide. All it takes is a good helping of Dahlia's charm and just the teeniest bit of blackmail before she's got all 6 foot something of him wrapped around her finger. But even with her very own mountain man in tow, things aren't going to be easy. There are long hikes through gorgeous wilderness, check. Bears, check. A single shared sleeping bag, check. Enough sparks to set the Rockies ablaze, check, check, check. With everything the wilderness has to throw at them, it'll take more than charm and some city girl ingenuity to make this trek anything but a disaster waiting to happen, and an adventure she'll never forget. On a much darker tone here. Bombshell by Abby Glines, first in Judgment series. And that doesn't sound like a romance at all. Mama always told me that my sins would find me. I just didn't think it would happen in a biker bar with my first crush bursting through the doors with his gun pointed at me. Well, not technically at me, but at my boyfriend, also known as my current sin. He was the thing I hoped the good Lord didn't tell Mama about in one of her dreams. Guess it didn't matter anyway. I was caught and in a bigger mess than I could have imagined. Micah Abe hadn't laid eyes on Dolly Dixon, his younger sister's best friend, in years, but her eyes were the kind you didn't forget. Even if she'd grown into a woman with a body made for sin, he had recognized that unique shade of amber the moment she had locked her gaze on him. Damn shame he wouldn't get a taste of her. Ugh. His sister would cut off his favorite body part, ew, if he even considered it. Besides, he was over clingy women. Way to make assumptions. And the way Dolly was holding onto his enemy like she wanted to wrap her legs around him meant she was the needy type. Oh my god. Oh my god. The problem was he had to save her from herself, of course. Clearly, Dolly was still clueless about life. That much hadn't changed about her. Yeah, this is a love story. He'd come here to get back what had been taken from him 5 years ago, but it looked like he'd be saving Snow White in the process. Yeah, that's love. Girl Abroad by L. Kennedy. That name sounds familiar. Brings her signature angst, drama, and humor to a new standalone romance. Finds the daughter of a retired rock star studying abroad in London and entangled in scandal and romance. Hang on, coffee's required. That last one melted my brain. Okay, we can do this. When 19-year-old Abby Bly gets the opportunity to study abroad for a year in London, it's the perfect chance to finally slip out from under the thumb of her beloved but overbearing retired rock star father. She's because yeah, okay. She's ready to be free to discover herself, but first off, to meet the girls she's rooming with. That is, until she arrives at her gorgeous new flat to discover those roommates are actually all boys. Charming, funny, insufferably attractive boys, and off limits with the rule against fraternizing between housemates after unwanted drama with the previous girl. Abby has never considered herself a rule breaker, but soon she's lying to her father about her living situation and falling for not one, but two men she can't have. She's yeah. Oh, I have comments. Her rugby player roommate and a broody musician with a girlfriend. Not to mention her research for school has gotten her tangled in a deeply hidden scandal of a high nobility family surrounding her in secrets on all sides. If there's any hope of Abby finding love, answers, or a future in London, she'll have to decide which rules and hearts might be worth breaking. You go have fling with all those boys. Chasing the Horizon, a Western Light book, number one, set on the 1800s Oregon Trail. Very nice. Interesting. Different. Her only chance at freedom. Did I say who the author is? Mary Connolly. Her only chance at freedom waits across the horizon. Upon uncovering her tyrannical father's malevolent plot to commit her to an asylum, Beth Rutledge fabricates a plan of her own. She will rescue her mother, who has already been sent to the asylum, and escape together on a wagon train heading west. Posing as sisters, Beth and her mother travel with the pioneers in hope of making it to Idaho before the others start asking too many questions. Why can't they just be mother and daughter? Wagon train scout Jake Holt senses that the mysterious women in his caravan are running from something. When rumors begin to spread of Pinkerton agents searching relentlessly for wanted criminals who match the description of those on his wagon train, including Beth, she begins to open up to him, and he learns something more sinister is at hand. Can they risk trusting each other with their lives and their hearts when danger threatens their every step? That is also a very pretty cover. Meant for Me by Tay Marley. Sometimes you have to run away to find yourself. Reeling from the sudden loss of her older sister, her only family, Addie Mae flees Los Angeles without a plan or a destination and ends up in Georgetown, Texas. Lost and alone, she's taken in by some local ranchers, and there she meets farmhand Zach Ryan, who starts to cut through the grief and pain and show Addie that she has something to live for. But the small town holds more than just a fresh start for Addie. Fate has brought her face to face with a piece of her past, and she can no longer ignore the parts of herself she thought she left behind. Without knowing what's on the horizon, Addie must find the strength to move towards her dreams, because healing happens when you let love in, and life happens when you start living it. Good lessons. Oh my. The cover looks like a parody. Riding Out the Storm, Below the Salt number 6 by Elizabeth Rose. Is a forbidden attraction strong enough to ride out the storm? The English lord. Lord Gar Blackmore is the eldest of the cousins and still not married. As a child, he was raised by pirates, and even though he sails ships for the king, he is aware of the whispers that go on behind his back. Getting the chance to sail the ship of his dreams, he eagerly accepts the job of captaining his overseas merchant trade ship. At first, Gar doesn't know that the owner of the ship has passed away and that his business is being run by his attractive but bossy widow. Worse yet, the woman plans to sail with him. Everyone knows a woman on board. I know that is bad luck. And what Gar is about to experience is anything but a calm sea. The widow. Josephina Waterman is a widow from a loveless marriage. Since her late husband was a guild member, it is her right to carry on the business for him. As an overseas trade merchant, she needs to hire a captain who can handle her large ship as well as the North Sea. The nobleman she's hired is said to be the best, but she finds him arrogant and rude. He's less than happy that she will be joining him on the journey, but every man has his weakness, and once they start working out their differences, they are noticing each other more than they should. Sometimes opposites attract in ways never expected. When dreams suddenly turn to nightmares on the high seas, will Gar and Josephine's attraction to each other be strong enough to ride out the storm? The Irish Matchmaker by Jennifer Dybel. As a daughter of a well known matchmaker, Katrina Daly is no stranger to the business of love and sees it as her ticket away from the sleepy village that only comes alive during the annual matchmaking festival. Enter Lord Osborne's son, Andrew, who has returned to the festival after being disappointed by a rival matchmaker's failed setup. Katrina seizes the opportunity to make a better match for the handsome man and for herself. Cattle farmer Donald Bunratty is in desperate need of a wife after loss left him to handle the farm and raise his daughter on his own. Shy and lacking the finer social graces, he agrees to attend the matchmaking festival to appease his daughter. But when he arrives, it's not any of the other merrymakers that catch his eye, but rather his matchmaker, who clearly has eyes for someone else. Katrina will have to put all her expertise to work to make a match that could change her life forever. Will her plan succeed, or will love have its own way? The Runaway Bride's Vow by Jennifer Fay, third in the Sea Breeze Wedding Chapel series. A grumpy contractor upends the wedding planner's life. With hopes of gaining a promotion, Brooke Campbell is all smiles as she temporarily takes charge of the Perky Pink Wedding Company. I would not hire a company called the Perky Pink Wedding Company. She's not only overseeing plans for her boss's wedding, but also supervising the renovations of the Seabreeze Wedding Chapel. On her way to her first meeting with the contractor, she stops at her favorite coffee shop. A strikingly handsome firefighter and part time contractor, Logan Montgomery reaches for the same cup of coffee as her. When his touch startles her, the coffee spills and his forbidding frown is aimed at her. Maybe some would assume it would be a meet cute, but like a sweet, creamy whipped coffee. But for these two, their first meet is more like a pot of day old coffee that not even a heap of sugar packets and a dose of creamer can help. Just wait until they find out they are working together. Oh my. Ran out of time, but this is the last one. While the City Sleeps by Elizabeth Camden. Nope, we did that one. Huzzah! We made it! Excellent.
Navy SEAL Tim
Whoa,
Sheehy is
commercial.
tough on illegal immigration.
We're not back here. Hang on. Commercial. And another commercial. There we go. Maybe. Technical difficulties. Alrighty. Now we're cooking. Alright, guys. Sorry about that. That is those are the romances that we have being set into the wild this week. It's probably not comprehensive, but there's quite a few of them there. Maybe there's something that kind of caught your eye to check out. No sprints tonight. It is Wednesday. Um, so our next sprints are tomorrow evening at 6:05 Mountain Time, 8:05 Eastern. Don't vote for 2.5 hours. In the meantime, I hope you're going to have a good Wednesday. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Ash Wednesday. And I hope you are reading good books. If you're not enjoying it, it's okay to set it aside. It's just not the right time. Reading is fun. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Have a good day. God bless.